The report card is in, and the Titans, they get a find out on the Right Titans podcast.
Touchdown
Welcome to another episode of the Right Titans podcast. We are your hosts, J Maul.
Trigger Trey.
And we got a report card alert from the Tennessee Titans for this season. So we're going to grade the position groups. We want to comment. Let us know what you think. How do we do on the year? I know it wasn't what we expected. 3-14.
Number one overall pick, baby.
But the number one overall pick is what we got. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we're just going to grade the position groups. See, we're going to grade the starters, maybe some people who came in. We had a lot of injuries, as we normally do. Titans, we're just used to injuries. But we're going to jump into it. But also make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The Right Titans podcast. We appreciate all our followers. Like it, share it with someone, subscribe, comment. What are your thoughts on the Right Titans podcast? So, Trey, we got to do a little grading. Also, our niece is in the background as well. Wait to the people. You're going to be on TV.
He said you're going to be on TV.
What?
But yeah, we're going to grade these position groups. And so before we do that, how do you think we did as an overall? I know we kind of talked about it already, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on like our overall season?
As an overall, it wasn't too good. Like, can't even give a C. Like, below average. Like, far below average. It might be in that F range because you got the first overall pick. You can't say anything but an F if you got the first overall pick. No matter what promises, no matter what players were promising, or like, you know what I'm saying, from the head coach to the defense coordinator, all of that is just kind of just like out the window when you got the first overall pick. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. What's your overall grade?
Yeah, I mean, once you get the overall pick, you just know you just didn't do a really good job. But let's go ahead and jump on into it. We talked a little bit about some mock drafts, but now we're going to talk about our starters. How did they do? And so I'm going to pull up a little slide. We're going to just grade. So we're going to start with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And so how do we do? What's your grade? We got Will Levis, Mason Rudolph. We had Malik for a little second before he was traded. But what's your grade?
I'm gonna give it a D+. I wouldn't say it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Jameis Winston when he threw 34 interceptions or whatever it was in the season. But it kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like that. But like some of the throws that Will Levis was making, especially like Calvin Ridley down the field, the 98-yard touchdown from Nick Westbrook-Akina, like those plays were exciting. And that came from like the quarterback making the right read, aka Will Levis, not so much Mason Rudolph, but he showed you what a quarterback that has any type of common sense. There we go. Any type of common sense can actually go through Brian Callahan's system. But also just the throws that Will Levis was making, like the down the field, Calvin Ridley, down the field to NWI. The Tay Martin's first touchdown, that down the field, that was a dot. And so I just give it a D+ because it was a couple bright spots. Like, oh my God, that was a great throw, Will. It's a couple of them to get you out your seats. You know what I'm saying? So what's your grade on it?
I mean, you have Will Levis. I mean, we're not comparing you to Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or anything like that, but I am comparing you to CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, the second-year quarterbacks, maybe the rookie quarterbacks too. And so when you get compared to that, I really just think he needs more development. He got better as the season went on, as far as, hey, let's just go ahead and take the sack. Let's go ahead and throw it away, throw it in the dirt, live to see another day. But the first part of the season, it wasn't good. Let's just be honest. The turnovers was a problem on both ends as well. If you look at Mason Rudolph, he's more of a game manager, just kind of like a dink dunk, take what is there. If it's not there, throw it away. If it's not, just take the sack. But nothing spectacular from him. You're not going to get anything just extravagant, but you're not going to get just completely just poor play.
Yeah.
So Mason Rudolph, I'll probably give it a C minus. Will Levis, I'll probably give it a solid D, maybe. So yeah, probably around D plus, C minus at best. They probably had as many touchdowns as they did interceptions. I
Hmm.
can't go higher than a C minus, but I would probably give it honestly a D plus. I think that's what really cost us a lot of the games, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Hey, now if you morph Will Levis in with Mason Rudolph, that's that might be a good that might be a good quarterback. We got a
That might be a
comment in
good
the chat.
quarterback.
Hmm.
Okay, well, the C minus just for the memes he gave us for the first 2 to 3 games. Man, I felt like it was just nothing but memes the whole entire season. It was just like, all right, what's he gonna do next? All right, knees down on his knees, hands on his head, just kind of all all over the place. So I guess
And
you can give it.
it went to week 17 when he did the get paid for Calvin Ridley. It
It
wasn't
was
just
not,
the first 2 or 3 games, it was all season.
and then we had to just watch those Mayo commercials as well once they came on. After I was like, all right. But we got the running back positions now. We got Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, Julius Chestnut. What's your grade?
Running backs, Tony Pollard really carried the load this season. Finished with over 1,000 yards rushing. Tajay, he wasn't too healthy, but when he was healthy and playing, he was pretty explosive. So I just got to give the running backs just an A. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the few bright spots on our team. Julius Chestnut kind of stepped in when Tajay or Tony was down. And so the running backs was really the focal point of our offense. And the only thing that kind of worked. So yeah, I'll give them an 8.
When you're running behind the offensive line that we had and you get over 1,000 yards, hey, well done. Tony Pollard, I mean, I think I underestimated him when he came in. I thought he was going to give us around maybe 700 yards. Ended up getting over 1,000. I thought it was going
Yeah.
to be a split even. I will say that I do want Tajay Spears to be in the lineup, probably starting just because of his explosiveness, his
Mm-hmm.
big playability. But again, him being hurt is a problem. I don't know how his durability is, but he's a one heck of a weapon. But yeah,
Yeah.
I give it a A. I don't think they did, just super spectacular. I mean, you're comparing the Derrick Henrys and Saquon Barkley's
Yeah.
and Jameer Gibbs and the NFL. So I don't think they did just A plus like that, but anywhere between A minus A, given what we've had on the offensive line. So that's a solid
Yeah.
grade for them. And
And
then
also
next,
you well, real quick, you bring up the point of like Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jameer. Those are three of the top three offensive lines in the league. And speaking of offensive line, what do you grade our offensive line on the season?
listen, that's the recipe for success. Get a good offensive line. You got time to throw it. You got room to run it. Even if those tight games, if it's not really looking well, you can depend on the offensive line to win you in the trenches.
Yeah.
But the offensive line, I'll go individually on this one. JC
Okay.
Latham, not necessarily a grade individually, but I'm just going to comment a little bit. But JC Latham coming in as a rookie, playing one of the harder positions in the NFL on offense, that left tackle, that blind side for the most part when it comes to quarterbacks, held up. You're going to have his rookie mistakes. He's going to give up a few sacks, but a lot of times when I'm looking over his side, he's got his man down in the dirt.
Yeah.
His hands is what's really makes him a really dominant player. The footwork is there, his
Mm-hmm.
strength, trench king right there.
Yeah.
Go along with Peter Skronsky as well. I mean, that's a dynamic duo right there for years to come. So I'm really excited about
Yeah.
that left side. Unfortunately, Lloyd Cushenberry, he got hurt. Don't like to see that. I think it was like an Achilles injury that put him out for the
Mm-hmm.
whole season after he got hurt. Looking forward to having him come back, but I think he's a solid player. Radens, he needs to be right guard and only right guard.
Yeah.
Not saying he played the best, but the moment you start putting him in different positions, I think it was kind of like, hey, I don't know about this. But right guard, it was pretty solid. And the right tackle. Um, it was to a point where we were rotating tackles during the game for the next game during every other drive.
Last week, like
Last week, they just replaced the off right tackle yesterday, and
yeah.
we have the game. So that's how often they're playing, switching out the right tackles. But because of that, giving up as many sacks as they did, they got some growing to do. We are the youngest offensive line in the NFL. Again, it's a D for me. Um, I can't go no lower than that because again, we got some rookies, second year, and Skaronski and Lloyd Cushenberry was hurt. Radens was hurt for a little bit, so I give it a D. Because
Hmm.
that again, when you're talking about offensive line, you're not just talking about one individual person. You're talking about a whole offensive line front, and that right
Yeah,
tackle is abysmal. So uh, yeah, that's it. It's not just Nicholas Petit Frere. Let's just not get that mistaken. We had other people, Jalen Duncan. We had
John Chukwu.
Juku in there. They just
Yeah,
didn't get the job done. So it's a D for me.
yeah. Yeah. For the whole offensive line, I'll just give them. I'll give them a C minus, just because that left side just gives us a little bit of hope and promise. But the right side, especially that right tackle position, is just abysmal. Let me use the big word right there. It was abysmal.
There you go.
That's a big word of the stream. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, right tackle position. Like I know a lot of people was mad at Rand Carthon for not tackling in the off season, but I forgot who retired. Somebody retired that was supposed to play that
Yeah,
right tackle. I can't think of his name right now because it was so long ago and I haven't really thought about it. But we kind of did try, but also we had high hopes for NPF. He's still young, coming off an injury. We're like, okay, NPF can be our long term right tackle, at least better than what he played. But looking at that left side, that's gonna be a good duo for years to come. Even though JC Latham hit a rookie wall, he was the second best tackle, maybe the third best offensive lineman besides Joe Alt and Jackson Power Johnson. But JC Latham, best left tackle out of the rookie class and one of the two best tackles out of the rookie class. And so just O line totality, just a C minus, just a C minus.
yeah. Even Olu Fashanu, he played a lot better than. I don't think he had even a starting role on the Jets. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean C minus probably. I mean, you got a good point. We got some young cats on the field, but and again, we tried to address that right tackle position as well beginning of the season. Unfortunately, I had to look up his name. He retired, so hopefully he's doing well. Mental health is definitely important. So we
yeah,
didn't really know exactly why he retired, but he had to do what's best for him and his family. But we tried. But yeah, so I think this offseason right tackle is a must to get a solidified tackle for the future. So hopefully we get to do that. Then our next position group, we have none other than the wide receivers. I'll take it from here.
okay.
We got Calvin Ridley, who had over 1,000 yards. Uh, Nick Westbrook Akine. He just, I mean, him alone just gets an A+. I don't know what you want me to say. He just gets an A+. You
Hey,
talking about a receiver that was supposed to be maybe number 4, number 5 on the depth chart, ended up having the most touchdowns when it comes to the receiver. He is efficient. So out of the 20 something catches that he had, I think 8 were touchdowns. I mean, how more efficient can you get?
hmm, I think it was 9. I
And
think it might have been 9.
9. I mean, hey, that's
But
that's an A+. Like you
yeah,
can't you can't do anything. But as a whole, you got to look at Calvin Ridley. He did have a few drops. Wish we got the ball
yeah,
to him more, but we can't ignore some of those drops, which is expected. I've seen him drop some of the footballs in recent years as well. So, but um, and we got Tyler Boyd, who I didn't really see much of. It was kind of disappointing. D Hop, we had him for a split second. He's doing well in Kansas City. Not, he's to the point where you're not going to want him to do the main role,
yeah, yeah,
but he needs to be a role player, and we have him as a role player in our system. And then we had some other people because again, Traylon Burks again hurt. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see him next year. So overall,
Yeah, it
I'll
might be
probably give it uh that's it's tough. So I give it a B minus. I
okay.
give it a solid B minus.
Okay, so yeah, off rip, like you said, Nick Westbrook Keener gets A++ in my book. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any critiques or criticisms for Nick Westbrook Keener coming in as wide receiver 4, maybe 5, lead the team in touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? What we call him, the Honda Accord. Ain't nobody ever got mad if you get a Honda Accord as your first or second car.
Reliable.
Ain't reliable. You ain't never mad if you get a Honda Accord. But yeah, Nick Westbrook Keener gets an A++. But Calvin Ridley, you know what I'm saying? He was the explosive person that we wanted, but those drops in like short game, like the one time he tried to get his feet in bounds or whatever, and he ran out of bounds instead of trying to get the first down, but the ball did come out a little late. But it's just certain things that as a wide receiver you could do a little bit better of. And so for Calvin Ridley, I'll just give him a B. I don't think I can go higher than a B. But for the rest of our receiving core, where were y'all? Outside these two on the frame, Bryce Oliver, Tyler Boyd, Tay Martin got some reps in late. I mean, like those players were pretty non-existent. So for a wide receiver core as a whole, I'll give them a C.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was just really disappointing to see that we brought Tyler Boyd in to be that third receiver, and we didn't really get too much production out of him. Um, but yeah, so B minus for me. And then we got the next position group, tight ends. So I'll let you start it off. What you got?
Tight ends Chig towards the end of the season was electric. Like it got to the point where Brian Callahan was like, "Oh, why haven't I been getting this guy the ball after that 72-yard touchdown?" Like, "Oh, we got to get Chig the ball." But all these little wide receiver screens and the drop offs to Nick Van Nett and Josh Wiley, like Brian Callahan was never just like always going to his tight ends. But for the tight ends to carve out a role in this offense later on in the season shows like how dominant this group is, especially Chig. And I want to see more of Josh Wiley. He 6'7". Like, come on now. You got to toss Josh Wiley out there. But for Chig, Josh Wiley, and Nick Van Nett, I'll give them a B minus because they didn't get too much production early on in the season. But as the season progressed, their role increased. That's just a true testament of the tight ends we got on this roster.
I like it. For me, I give him an A minus. Uh,
Ooh,
it sounds a little bit high, but I mean, when you got a whole three receiving tight end core, Okonkwo had touchdowns and yards. Uh, Josh Wiley had touchdowns and yards. Nick Van Nett, third tight end, had receptions, touchdowns, and
yeah,
yards.
yeah.
And he realized, I guess Brian Callahan realized that, hey, we got some tight end group that can actually do some damage and we can actually throw it to him, get some yards
Mm-hmm.
on him. Okonkwo, he caught fire at the end of the season, which was really good to see. That's the Okonkwo that we want to see. That's the Chig that we know who can tear up the field. That's what we want going into next season. So I think he had a
Mm-hmm.
really good third year. I want to see a little bit more from him, especially throughout the whole entire season, because honestly, he can be the next Delaney Walker.
He
He
could,
can
yeah,
just a faster version of him, shiftier, but his yards after the catch, he's trying to get those extra yards, and he's not afraid of it. I do
yeah,
want to see him make sure that he does catch the balls that he's supposed to. Reliable Josh Wiley, you just need to just throw it up to him. I want to see
yeah.
some improvement on him, but overall, just an A minus. That's a really good as a whole A minus for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got the next position group going into the defense now. D line
Mm-hmm.
with Meatloaf, Joseph Day, Big
Yeah.
Jeff Simmons,
Keandre Coburn, James Lynch.
Coburn,
We had we
Lynch.
had we had some dogs on that defensive line. So for the interior defensive line, I'll give them an A minus because I did kind of want to see a little bit more statistically from Big Jeff. I need a couple more sacks. I need a couple more tackle for losses. Like he had a couple where like he gets in the backfield, disrupts the play, doesn't get the sack. Gets in the backfield, disrupts the run, make the run back go the other way, but doesn't get the running back down. And so if he could just take that next step, and I feel like he's entered his prime with Meatloaf at the helm, like you got if one of them is getting double teamed, the other one has to get the pressure or the stop or whatever it is, close the gap. But you got two dogs in the interior defensive line for at least 5 more years. And so that's going to be a hard duo to work with. And the Titans had the second best rushing defense in the league. And that's courtesy of those two people right there. And of course, Sebastian Joseph Day, he was getting his fair share. But those two right there, you don't run up the middle. Don't run up the
Absolutely.
middle.
Yeah, D line for me, that's a B plus. I think I agree with you. Statistically, I want to see more on the stat sheets. So we can see that they had the second. I think the Titans as a whole had second overall when it comes to run defense. And we'll get into the DB second overall when it comes to passing defense. But statistically, I want to see more sacks. Want to see more pressures. We were still stopping the run for the most part. We're not going to do it every single game, so I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand that. But even I think when Meatloaf T Sweat, I think his breakout game was the Miami Dolphins game. I think we were
yeah,
like, oh man, he can be if he can have string more games like that throughout the season next year, he's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. He now knows what it takes to
yeah,
be an NFL player throughout the whole entire year. And the other thing is that they were healthy, which
yeah.
is you can't discredit that. I mean, for the most part, I mean, you even Big Jeff, he was hurt, but he was playing.
Playing. But what
T
we said
Sweat,
earlier on in the season, the availability is the best
it's the best
ability.
ability. I'm telling you. And so B plus for me when it comes to the D line. So I do want to add a little bit more depth. So probably one more piece, not I guess not a weakness by any means when it comes to the Titans, but maybe one more piece in the offseason. But a
Yeah.
weakness outside linebacker.
I was just about to use that word out your mouth. I'm about to say, but speaking of weakness, this is one of them. And this is why in my mock draft, I was saying we need Abdul Carter. Think about Abdul Carter, Harold Landry, T Sweat, Jeff Simmons, all coming after. Oh,
That
come
could
on.
be a mean little defensive line.
Come on, Mike Berganzi. Come on. Come on now. So yeah, speaking of weakness, they just wasn't generating pressure. Just wasn't like Harold Landry. He was tearing up the sacks. Like first, like 3 or 4 weeks, had a sack every game. But that's courtesy to the DBs. Those were covered sacks. They're not necessarily him beating his right tackle off the line from like bull rushes, spin moves, fancy hand work. It wasn't none of that. It's just effort with Harold Landry. It's, so we got a report card in the chat. He said, report card D, no bias. Just
So that's
overall
real close
D.
to
Just,
overall D.
just an
Just
overall
overall.
D. Yeah. But outside linebacker, he wasn't generating pressure. I was watching the game and I'm like, come on, come on, get to him. And so we made some of those non-mobile quarterbacks. They were able to step up into the pocket or shimmy to the left, shimmy to the right, and go get them 15 yards rushing. We was like, hold on, wait a minute. Drake May don't run like this. Like, and so yeah, outside
Yeah,
linebacker, I'm harsh on him. I'm harsh. So I'm gonna give him an F.
I agree. I 100% agree. It was one play. I can't remember who we were playing. I was watching the game. I went into the kitchen real quick to grab something. I came back. I thought it was a different play. The quarterback was still in the pocket, just rolling around trying to figure out where to go. I was like, "Oh wow." He had about 9, 10 seconds, and I was like, "What's going on?" Again, those are coverage sacks by Harold Landry. I expect a little bit more. And again, if you watch the film, it's not necessarily that they're not trying. It's just they watch themselves out the play too many times to where they're trying to beat their man. They go too far up, and then the quarterback steps up, and now they're out the picture. The tackle has time to recover, and now it's just he's just in a pocket, and they're just throwing it.
Yeah.
So Arden Key again, same thing. It's real spurts. It's real sporadic. It's not consistent. It's like, oh, there's the Arden Key, and it's like, oh, you get fired up, and then 2 quarters later, you don't hear from him. Or the
Yeah.
next game you don't really hear. Or same thing with Harold Landry. You got a sack, and then you don't really hear anything after that. So Abdul Carter would be nice. I think our number one need is quarterback.
Yeah.
But again, we got the number one pick. We can control the draft, but F is what you get. Unfortunately, there's just no pressure when it comes to the outside linebackers. But speaking of linebackers, we go into the inside linebackers, the Mike, the Will, Kenneth Murray, Otis Reese. We had Luke Gifford out there. We had Cedric Gray a little bit. Got some
We
injuries.
had James
Chance
Williams,
Camp, James
Luke
Williams. I
Gifford.
mean,
Yeah, we
everyone had playing time. So,
yeah. But
what would
for the
you
linebacker
give us?
position, yeah, for the linebacker position, it's just so many injuries that you can't go high, especially when we had the philosophy is the availability is the best ability on this podcast, and to not be available that game. Who was it when we started? James Williams and Cedric Gray, and they ran for like 300 and some yards. Was it the Colts? Maybe I think it was
It was
maybe the
probably the
Colts.
Colts where, yeah,
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor went crazy. But
yeah.
yeah, linebackers when they're not there, it's so they're right behind the outside linebackers. So I'm gonna just give them a D minus.
It's just, they're just right there behind them. Uh,
Yeah.
um, Injuries play a huge part in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we had a really starting linebacker core except when we had Ernest Jones and Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the closest you would get to where you felt pretty comfortable about our linebackers.
Yeah.
After we had that trade with Ernest Jones, which I still think is a good trade,
Yeah, that was a great flip.
that's the injuries and missed tackles. The I mean, again, these are some young guys out here. They're trying, they're competing. But as far as performance goes, I would have to give it a D. It just wasn't. Again, we're comparing you to the Bobby Wagners. We're comparing you to the
Fred Warner,
okay,
like
Fred Warner,
Roquan
Roquan
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're comparing you to those linebackers, and they're getting production. They're getting over 120, 130 tackles on the season. They're getting sacks. They're getting interceptions, and it
Yeah.
just wasn't to where we were really generating anything from our linebackers. So a D is probably what I would give them. So I'll be interested to see what we do. I don't think we'll most likely go to the draft with our linebackers. I think it'll more so be free agency. So we'll be interesting to see where we go with our linebackers. And then we got the DBs as a whole. We can break it up into safeties, cornerbacks, slot. So what you think?
Oh, for the DBs, I'm shooting for the stars. I'm high with them. The Jerry Sneed wasn't there, Cheeto wasn't there, but guess what? Still the second passing defense with generating no pressure whatsoever to the quarterback. So for the DBs, you have to go an A. I don't see how you cannot. You had second best in passing yards, and we know our outside linebackers aren't generating any pressure to the quarterback whatsoever. So what does that say about the DBs? They're balling out. Third string, second string, fourth string DBs coming in. They're worldly, picking people up off the streets. And Denard Wilson was able to block. I know your strengths. I know your strengths. We go do this and still have the second best passing defense in the league. So I'm going with the A for the DBs.
I agree with you. I probably say A minus. I don't think you go any lower than an A minus. Amani Hooker was doing really well when no one was really out there. You got
Yeah,
Jarvis Brownlee Jr. stepping in solidifying
Fifth
him
round
as
rookie.
a number one cornerback going
Fifth
against
round rookie.
fifth round rookie going
That's
against Justin
crazy.
Jefferson, going against these top
Jamar Chase.
receivers,
Yeah.
Jamar Chase. Like that's a big ask. That's a huge task. You telling me, oh, I just got drafted in the fifth round. Now I'm getting to start going against Jamar Chase, who had the most receiving yards, the most touchdowns, and the most something else as well.
Yeah.
Triple crown. I got to go against him. Oh man.
And then you telling
But
me I get off of Jamar Chase for a second. I still gotta go guard T. Higgins. Like
that wait, what? Now again, we got Quandre Diggs, who was out for the season. Snead was out for the season. Cheeto was missed a lot of times. When he came back, he finally got an interception. DBs, again, that's another injury that kind of plagued us as well. So hopeful for the DBs. I don't think of course, we'll go into the draft and get DBs. I think we always do get DBs when it
Yeah,
comes to the draft, maybe
can't
in the
have
later
too
rounds,
many.
but yeah, you can never have too many DBs. We saw that this year. You can never
Yeah,
have too many DBs. So because of that, A minus from me. Safeties, Worley came in, um, did what he could, but nothing else needs to be said about the DBs. So, and then the last position group that we got, coaches,
okay.
staff. So the big one right here. This includes
Mm-hmm.
GMs, strength training, coordinators, head coach, owner, security
I ain't gonna get.
guards, um, cleanup crew.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
Oh man, we ain't gonna get. I ain't even go touch owner. I don't want to talk about her. But but for coaching staff,
Fair.
we'll break it up. Brian Callahan, first year play caller, new team, trying terrible quarterback, terrible offensive line. So you know what I'm saying. I don't really have a good evaluation on Brian Callahan because we still had a losing record. But like when your quarterback is Will Levis, you're kind of I'll be scared to throw call plays too. Like I might have something drew up in my head for Joe Burrow. Like I know he can execute this, but for Will Levis, oh, we gotta do a screen pass. Oh, it's 3rd and 1. I want to do a play action, but no, we're just going ahead and hand this ball off and run left. Like so, I really don't have a full evaluation on Brian Callahan, but Bill Callahan, I'm looking at you, Bill. I see you looking at me, and I see you.
He's smirking at you right now.
Yeah. Like, why you put NPF out like that? Why you put John Juku out like that? You couldn't give him a couple more tips and shit. You're supposed to be OLJ, offensive line, Jesus. But the right side was still a little wonky. Yeah, at least we count on Will Levis to lose week 18 for yes. Yeah, there you go, Will. There you go,
Good
Will.
job. Good job.
And
That's
then
why you got that Mayo commercial because of
yeah,
that. Get us a number one pick.
And then Cole Anderson early on in the season, terrible, terrible from the special teams. Block punts, not missed field goals, but block punts, getting not covering well. Just it was terrible. But toward the end of the season, we started to see Cedric Gray pop up. We started to see James Williams pop up. We started to see the wide receiver, what's his name, Bryce Oliver at the gunner position. We no more block punts. Field goal unit was pretty good. Bringing in, I forgot his first name, but Wright, that's his last name. But bringing in him to kick a couple kicks for the last 2-3 weeks. And so Cole Anderson for the beginning of the season, that was F minus. Like that was terrible. But towards the end of the season, he brought himself up to a B plus. I say he brought himself up to a B plus. I mean D plus, D plus, D plus, D plus. But Rand Carthon, hate to see him go. But for Rand, you had some good flips, targeted certain positions, but not to the best of your ability. But I feel like he gave the roster hope. And for Rand, I'll give him a C plus. The execution wasn't there, but bringing in the talent, like no one was mad. We was like, oh, let Rand cook. He cooks it, but the food got a little burnt. You know what I'm saying? But But yeah, for the for the coach staff overall, it, it's a D. It's a D.
So we rarely see a head coach come in and have a winning season.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell is a really good example of that.
Hmm.
The second year, that's what we're really trying to see. Can you make that improvement? Whatever the improvement is, can you
Hmm.
make that improvement? Now, we did have a Mike by the name of Vrabel come
Hmm.
in and produce a winning season. But again, you got a Derrick Henry be in the backfield. So when has
Yeah.
he ever had really a losing season? I mean, he had the two losing seasons with us for real, but I mean, we didn't
We
have
weren't
anyone
drafting
else.
talent. Yeah, we weren't drafting talent at that point. Ever since the AJ Brown trade downhill.
But let's focus on the staff because I'm not afraid to
Mhm.
talk about the owner. So I'll talk about
Okay.
the owner.
Okay.
I I think she's on the right track. I think
Okay.
she's trying to get it right. I think she's tired of losing. She knows that a change needs to be had. I think she's making the right steps. I still agree with the firing of Mike Vrabel because I think he just provides a
Yeah.
different type of style. So I still
Hmm.
agree with that. I agree with the John Robinson firing. There's just
Hmm.
too many things that went on to where it was just like, all right, we just need something new. The process with it, again, this is why I'm not an owner. This is why I'm not a coordinator. Now, if you want me to be one, hey, we're ready.
We're ready.
But
Ooh, now.
when you're talking about trying to win a football game, everyone's got to be on the same page. And of course, we don't know the story behind the scenes, but 2 years after Rand Carthon gets here and he's gone with the GM, there's got to be a time to where like it's time to win now, but you also got to be patient.
Hmm.
I say we're just wanting a little bit patient with him, but hey, I'm gonna trust you because we got another Mike in the building, Mike Borgonzi as our new
Yeah.
GM. So we've had like four different Mikes. I do not miss Grumpy Stubborn Braves. It was to a point to where I think he provides. I think he'll be a really good college coach. If
Yeah.
you ask, as far as a NFL coach, I think he's good. But again, he provides some type of different style, playing style element. I think it worked when we had that. Hey, we're just a powerhouse run team, but now we're trying to change, shift gears, and come a more so modern team. But focusing on the coaches, Ryan Callahan, you need more experience. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a E for effort.
E for effort. Okay, that's valid. That's
E
valid.
for
Because I
effort.
didn't have anything else either. The E for effort. That's a good one.
I give you E for effort because you try because it's really hard coming in and you're trying to get a team motivated to win when we've only won 3 games and we got 3 more games left and we know we're not
Hmm.
gonna make the playoffs. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
um, Brian Callahan, or sorry, Bill Callahan, off in the offensive line, I give you a pass because I don't think we had anything better than a Nicholas Petit Frere. If you look at our
Hmm.
offensive line, right tackle, I just don't think you have anything better to offer. I've seen Jalen Duncan, I've seen Ojukwu, I've seen other players, and I think that's the best that we had at that time. So, and we had someone that was supposed to replace Nicholas Petit Frere, and he retired. So I give you
Yeah.
a pass. Strength and condition coach, you get an F. That's unacceptable. We had 2 punts that were blocked in the same season. There's teams that hadn't had a punt blocked in years, but we
Years.
had two in the same season. That's
Hmm.
unacceptable. There's too many people returning yards on us. When you put out Jaquan Jackson, again, I know that he's a rookie, but when he has 5 fumbles, after the second fumble, maybe it's time to make that change. We put him out there still. It's just some of the decisions I don't really agree with. So yeah, you get a fail. But hopefully you're going to be back because I believe in redemption. And I
Yeah.
believe in, hey, this is a learning experience. Again, I'm all about positivity. So let's come back. Let's come back a little bit stronger. And again, maybe you just need more players or better players.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
so you want Cole Anderson back?
I want him to get another chance. It may not be
Okay.
with us. but I want him to get another chance because
Okay.
once you see our film and you see the tape, and let's just say he doesn't return, it's kind of hard with other teams saying like, "Oh yeah, I want you as the strength and conditioning coach after what happened here." So I want him to get another chance, whether it's here, okay, maybe bring someone else in to help you. If there's someone else, that's what I say. So I give you another chance, and then Rand Carthon, I think you get a B. The talent that you brought in, again, and I don't know the money aspects of it. Some of the deals or contracts, maybe it was too much, maybe it was too little, you know. Um, but yeah, I gave you a solid B because at the beginning of the season, we were like, "Hey, this is the playoff team on the
Yeah, on
roster."
paper.
On
On
paper,
paper.
you address a lot of the holes in one season. It just didn't work out. So I give you a B. The only reason I give you a B because I don't know what happened behind the scenes, and so for
Hmm.
you to get fired after 2 seasons, something happened,
Yeah.
or a new directions is I don't know. So that's my take on the coaches and the coaching staff. So overall, what's your grade for the whole season? What you get? Because I had my pen and my paper, and I was taking notes each game.
Hmm.
What's your verdict?
From Trigger Trey. His verdict. Trey's verdict. Overall grade. What am I circling at the top of the paper in red marker? We're going with an F plus. Wasn't the F. Wasn't the F minus. Couple high hopes, but an F plus because it was hard to cheer when you don't know the direction. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That's like trying to go somewhere during rush hour with no back roads. You gotta sit in the traffic and you gotta go 3 hours sitting in that traffic. It just long, painful. And then every so often you might look off and see a billboard that might make you smile. Might see a play that might make you smile. Might get off the exit, get you some ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Cheer you up a little bit, but then it melts. It melts in the car because you got the heat up and it's cold outside. So it wasn't
so
too
F
many. Yeah, F
F
plus. It
F
wasn't too.
F plus.
Yeah, F plus. It wasn't too many. It was so bad that the bad outweighs the good, and so we have to go with an F plus.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. For me, I think you had a really good example. It's like we're racing against 31 other teams and we don't know the map. We don't know the streets, where to turn. We're just driving, trying to go full
Yeah.
speed, trying to win, but we have no idea where to go. That's what I felt like this season was. There, the foundation, the identity wasn't there. I still don't even feel like it's a Titans team, really, because I don't know what type of Titans team this is. In the previous
Mhm.
years, we thought, oh, this is a hard fought. We're gonna bend but not break on defense. We're gonna run, play action on offense. We're gonna beat you up. It's gonna be a dirty, low scoring game, 17-point game, 14, 17, 21, 17. You're not going to get those 40-point games. So now it's
Mhm.
just I have no idea what type of Titans team this is. It just didn't really feel like a Titans team.
Mhm.
Um, but so for that, because of that, I'm gonna give it a D. Minus minus plus. You just get a D. You just get a D.
Just get a
Get a
D.
D.
Okay, that's
You get a
valid.
D. If you get all the if you think about all the injuries, first time new head coach, first time coordinators, second year quarterback at the helm, and not a lot of help on the offensive line, I give it a solid D.
Mhm.
Um, I can't go any higher. I can't go any lower than that, really. Well, I can't go lower. I really could go a lot lower, but we're gonna go at a D. Can't go higher than a D. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be my overall grade for the Titans. Callie got a wake up call with the soft comments. Rand, on the other hand, I loved his aggressiveness with free agents, but I would not trust a guy to draft my fantasy team. Just awful at drafting. I love the free agent signings. 100% sure. 100% true.
Mhm.
Again, we went over the free agent signings. We went over Lloyd Cushenberry, Quandre Diggs, Calvin Ridley. We had no idea that was going to come. We
Yeah.
had a Jamal Adams for $1 million. So I mean, hey, that's it didn't work out. It didn't work out for other teams as well. They tried too, so it didn't work out. But who else did we get? We got Tyler Boyd. We got um,
Sebastian Joseph Day, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. I
Cheeto,
mean,
even though he
Ernest
was hurt, but
Jones,
Cheeto,
Cheeto. Yeah, that's what we
yeah,
wanted, and so we needed that. And so looking at it, that was that. Hey, he was aggressive. He spent the money. We had the money, and that's what I wanted to see. You
yeah.
got us. You got the money. Let's spend it. As far as drafting, um,
I feel
I
like he
think
hit.
it's so hard because you got to think that we didn't really have a lot of draft picks. We didn't have a lot of draft capital. We had a first
Yeah,
round, second round, then straight to the fourth round. But we can't really make a splash because we have holes on the offensive lines, which we got J.C. Latham. The year before that, we had to get Peter Skoronsky, one probably the best offensive line at that pick. So we
yeah.
can't really make too much of a splash that first round. Then second round comes along, and now who do we get? A lot of the receivers are gone. A lot of the
Playmakers,
yeah,
skill
playmakers are really
positions.
gone. Yeah, it's too really high to draft that type of position. So we went with the T Sweat in the second round this past year. And then last year, who did we get? Did we have a second
Will
rounder?
Levis.
Will Levis, I agree with that one. Trading up because again, he's projected to go first round. We needed a quarterback. I think if you look at the film, you can debate on whether it was a good pick or not, but I still think that we needed a quarterback who knows where we would have been if that didn't happen. So I agree
Hmm.
with the decision to get Will Levis. Trading up that much, I don't know, but I agree with the pick on that one. So I love the aggressiveness. I think he drafted pretty well.
Hmm.
You got to draft the needs before you draft the
The
splashes.
won'ts. Yeah.
Yeah, and fortunately, the Chiefs draft Xavier Worthy. That's a splash because they've
Hmm.
been to the Super Bowl, so they're picking last. The Bills, they had they can make splashes. Philadelphia Eagles, they can make splashes,
Yeah.
but so I think that was a little premature to get rid of him. So I think we're just going to go a different direction overall. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, any last thoughts before we get out of here? And again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with someone. We are, I think, almost at 200
Or like
subscribers, I believe.
190 something. So
190 something. So we almost there. So make sure you,
mhm.
if you're a Titans fan, football lover, love sports, we talk it all, fantasy, whatever. But yeah, appreciate y'all tuning in. But yeah, any last thoughts, Trey, before we get on out of here?
um Mike Gonzi, I don't know what nickname we got for you. I don't know. I saw a couple let Mike Bake or something like that, or Bergonzi's Kitchen. That sounds good. Or I don't know what I don't quite know
It,
what we gonna say. But Mike
it reminds
Bergonzi,
me of what's that that Disney Monsters Inc. Mike Bergonzi.
Mike,
That's what I'm gonna
Mike,
say.
Mike Bergon,
That's what I'm gonna start saying. Mike
Mike
Bergonzi.
Bergonzi. But
So
yeah,
coming from the Chiefs organization, so hopefully he'll go ahead and help us out. I know he has a lot of recruiting experience. Again, that's our niece in the background playing with, I think, My Little Pony. Is that what it is?
yeah.
Okay. But he has a lot of recruiting experience,
Hmm.
college, NFL, been with the Chiefs for I think over 16, 17 years, was with there with, Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl champs. So he's got the experience 100%. So and in previous years we've had success with Mike
Yeah.
Larkey, Mike Vrabel. So now
Hmm.
Mike Baganzi. So we're gonna see how this plays out, but that's all I got. But any other thoughts, comments?
Um, yeah, like I said, Michael Gonzi, we need you to do something because, like, I like his resume. You also got to build a roster behind paying Patrick Mahomes a lot of money, paying Chris Jones a ton of money, Travis Kelsey a ton of money. So the Chiefs were able to build a crazy roster with also paying a lot of people money. And so his drafting has to be up there if you want to keep all those people on the payroll, plus bring in some young talent. So that's it. Mike Bergon.
Mike Bergon. So that's all the time that we have. Again, the Titans. Hopefully we can get a better grade next year. But we appreciate everyone tuning in again. I am J Mall.
Craig.
And we are out.
I knew this would happen someday. You can ask on day one, day. Cloudy days turn to sun rays. Only way to way up, way. No more.